Ever entered wrong data in Excel and messed up with your reports? Now, with data validation, you can exactly control what goes into your Excel sheets, whether it's drop down lists, number limits, or maybe valid dates. Okay, you can control everything. Now, in this video, I am going to show you some of the most important features of data validation in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, before that, what does a data validation do exactly? Now, a data validation allows you to limit what exactly a cell will accept, whether it's whole numbers, dates, text, particular numbers, whatever it is. Okay? Now, without wasting any more time, let's get into an example and see how this can be done. Now, open in front of you, there's a simple employee registration form where your user has to input certain cells, input data into certain cells, and just beside that, we have given you the data validation rule. So, one by one, in each of the cells, we would put in different data validation and see how this can be done. So, let's start with the employee name. Now, what does it say? It says it cannot be left blank. So, to start with data validation, we'll need to go up to the data tab, and within data tab towards the right there's a section for data tools. Within data tools there's a button for data validation. I'll give that a click and the data validation window opens in front of you. Now, within the data validation window there are certain validation criteria. Now, the first cell that we are dealing with is the user input for an employee name, which we don't want to leave blank. So, it cannot be left blank. So, how do we tackle this? So, for this we'll allow text length which should be greater than or equal to 1. So, it should be of minimum 1 character, and I'll uncheck this ignore blank button. Okay, I'll click OK, and now let's say if I write my name and hit my enter key, it accepts it because it is not blank. Now, once again, if I go back and I wipe out my name, now if I wish to hit my enter key without writing anything, it gives me an error message, right? The value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. So, I need to hit on the retry button and keep this name. Okay, so this is the first part. Now, the next thing, this is the most interesting part in data validation where we can define a list. It says that the department should be in the form of a drop down list which will have HR, sales, IT, finance and marketing in it, right? So, once again let's go to the data validation button. Out here from the allow drop down you choose list, and here you would be able to give a source. Okay, so I can type HR, sales, IT, finance and marketing. Okay, so I'll hit the OK button, and now if you can see we have got a small drop down list out here from which we can select any value, right? Once again, in the next cell we have got job roles for which again we have to use a drop down, but here let's use it in a different way. So, I'll go and click on the data validation button. I'll move it down here. Once again I'll use the list, but this time in the source area, instead of typing it out, you'll see that we already have a list laid out here, okay, on the G column. So, what I'll do is I'll just select this list, and in the source area you'll have the range of cells selected. Okay, I'll click on OK and it brings me the same result. Okay, so if you have your data somewhere in the form of an array, you can use that as a data validation entry for your list. Okay, the next cells talks about age. Now, here the rule is the input should be between 18 and 60. Okay, so let's see how this can be done. We'll go back to data validation. Out here we'll select whole number. between, minimum would be 18 and maximum would be 60. Okay. Now let's see, if we enter 47, it accepts. But what happens if I say let's say 62? It gives me an error message. Okay, because my range is between 18 to 60. Now let's say if I say 45.5 decimal, once again it does not accept because we have chosen whole number out here, right? So we'll have to stick to any valid whole number between 18 and 16. The next data validation is about the joining date, which is date. How do we deal with date in data validation? Let's go to data validation. In the allow tab, we'll choose date. Start date would be 1st of March 2025 and the end date would be 31st of March 2025. Okay. So let's check this out. Let's say if I say 15th February 25, it does not accept. If I say 15th March 25, it does accept. Okay. So it's very simple. Data validation is very simple to use but very effective. Now let's come to phone number, which should exactly be of 10 digits. Once again we'll come down out here and choose the whole number, but this time minimum would be, what is the minimum 10 digit number? Okay, so this is the minimum one and the maximum is 9999. So have I inputted 10 digit? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Let's check. So let's say if I give a number, mobile number, so this is a 10 digit number, it accepts. What if I give an 11 digit number? It does not accept. Or let's say if I give a 5 digit number, it does not accept. Okay, so I have to give a 10 digit number. Got it? Now the final cell that we are going to deal with has a space to input an email ID, right? Now for this you need to use the custom data validation. Okay, now let's go to the data validation button. Within the allow tab we'll use custom, and here we'll place a formula. I've already designed a formula and I'm pasting it. I'll give this formula in the description section where you can go and copy the formula. Basically what the formula does is it checks whether the cell contains an at and a dot sign. Okay, so at the rate and dot, these two elements should be there in the cell. And one more thing it checks is the dot should come after the at the rate sign. Okay, the at sign should precede the dot sign. So this is two elements which it checks and confirms whether it is a valid email ID or not. Now in case you want me to elaborate on this formula, I'll do that right in the comment section and I'll definitely make a separate video on it. But for now you can use this. But one caution here, since my cell where I'll put this data validation rule is cell number B9, the entire formula has been designed accordingly. You can see B9 out here, B9 out here, whatever cell reference I have used, I have written B9. Now in your case, if you are validating an email ID and using this formula, please do change the cell reference to the number, to the cell address that you are using. So if you are using a formula reference in a cell, let's say C18, change B9 to C18 and then only use the formula. For my case, I'll hit OK and it says the formula currently evaluates to an error. Do you want to continue? I'll say yes, and now let's check. Let's say I input my correct email ID. Let's say it accepts it. And that's how you take control of data entry in Excel. Now if you have found the video to be useful, don't forget to press the like button and don't forget to subscribe this channel for more such quick tips on Excel. See you in the next one.